Ji, doctor, they are asking, has the lecture started?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
So, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I said yesterday, after I introduced to you the properties and functions of the blood, and I talked about the blood group, I mentioned that I'll be talking about the final topic in terms of the blood physiology, which is related to normal hemostasis. Has anybody heard the term hemostasis before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what do you mean by hemostasis? Hemostasis is a combination of two words, heme, which is blood, and stasis. I hope you know the English meaning of stasis. So can anybody define what do you have the understanding of the word hemostasis? Anyone who is hearing me?
The homeostasis of blood.
No, not the homeo, but the hemo. Homeo is
Regulation of blood.
H.
Regulation of blood.
Sir, iron in balance, in equilibrium.
So as I said, hemostasis consists of two separate words, heme, which is always referred to the word blood. And the second one is stasis. What do you mean by stasis?
Stagnant.
Okay, so
Stoppage.
stoppage.
Constant.
Okay, so the blood will not be moving or is in a stagnant condition or is in a stoppage condition, but where?
Outside
You
vessel.
are referring to the term hemostasis. Where is the blood stopping?
Normal composition of the blood.
No, not the normal composition of the blood.
During bleeding.
During bleeding. And when the bleeding is there, what is the main anatomical thing which has been disrupted, which has been injured?
Vascular
endothelium.
Endothelium.
Endothelium. And what do you mean by endothelium? What is endothelium?
Endothelial cells and basement membrane.
Yes, but what is
Lining
endothelium?
of the vessel.
Lining of blood
Lining of the
vessels.
blood vessels.
Okay, so we know that lining of any cell in general is called as epithelium. But once you refer to the blood vessel tissue, the epithelium itself of a blood vessel, any blood vessel, whether you talk about a capillary, you talk about a venule, arteriole, small, medium, large size artery or a vein, the outermost layer in terms of its histology, which is, as you said, lining, is the endothelium. So the first of the thing which occurs during hemostasis is injury to the endothelium. And can somebody guess what are the causes, what can be the mechanism which can cause injury to endothelium? We know that physically the injury can occur to the endothelium. If there is a accident, somebody falls, if there is a road traffic accident, if the blood vessel is cut by a sharp object, yes, this is a physical injury. So one of the commonest cause is physical injury. But what are the other possible causes which can disrupt the normal
Free radicals.
GBT?
Free radicals.
Yes, free radicals, if are severe, persistent, can injure our endothelium. Any other thing?
Atherosclerosis.
High blood pressure.
Ebola. Thrombus formation.
Atherosclerosis don't break up the endothelium. There is a deposition on the endothelium, but the endothelium is not broken.
So disruption in varicose
Ebola.
veins.
GBT?
Thromboembolism.
Bete, thromboembolism don't break the anatomy of the endothelium. It only makes the endothelium thick by the platelets which have become abnormally aggregated. to form a thrombus or an embolus. It don't
Sir,
break.
high blood pressure.
Yes, high blood pressure may result, if it is so severe and acute, it may disrupt the endothelium. So, do you know any other chemicals? Can radiations destroy anatomy of the endothelium? Can radiations of high intensity break up the endothelium?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any chemicals which you might be knowing other than free radicals which can destroy the anatomy, which can break up, have a gap in the endothelial integrity?
Sir, bacterial exotoxins.
Yes, there can be some exotoxin, even endotoxins. They can break up some of the, I hope you have heard about vasculitis. Vasculitis is inflammation which sometimes can occur due to severe bacterial infections. And if they are so severe, they can destroy. So in general, before we start our discussion, a break in the endothelium can occur due to a physical injury, a chemical injury, a radiation injury, etc. And once the endothelium is broken, anything which is in the lumen of that blood vessel whose endothelium has been ruptured, and lumen contains blood. So blood will be oozing out through that gap where the endothelium has broken. Now, all mechanisms which will try to stop this oozing out of the blood from an injured endothelium combine together to a mechanism which is referred as normal hemostasis. Are you with me till now? So hemostasis is a stoppage of bleeding from an injured vascular endothelium. And this is the definition of hemostasis. So what I'll be trying to do today, I'll be trying to relate the structure, properties, and functions of normal vascular endothelium, normal platelets, normal clotting factors, with the normal hemostatic mechanism which will occur only during an endothelial injury, and we'll try to relate all of them to the normal coagulation cascade. The word is cascade, which is in the form of a cycle, and cycle repeats in steps and sequence. So I'll be trying to first give you an overview. What are the properties of an intact vascular endothelium? An unruptured platelet. Unruptured means it has not become activated and the granules inside its cytoplasm are still intact. What are the normal clotting factors? And I hope everybody knows that till bleeding occur, before that, clotting factors are proteins. And as I said in my previous lectures, most of the body proteins are in their inactive forms. All clotting factors, before they go on to play their individual roles in the normal hemostasis, are in the inactive form. And an inactive form cannot cause clotting in normal circumstances. Most of the clotting factors, I hope by now you know, are synthesized in liver and are stored in liver. So I'll be trying to give you first the normal functional anatomy of vascular endothelium, platelets and clotting factors. We'll try to then relate what happens to them when there is a break in the endothelium during normal hemostasis. And at the end, I'll try to relate vascular endothelial role and the role of the platelets along with the clotting factors in the coagulation cascade. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Should I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the normal hemostasis, when a vessel endothelium breaks, either due to a physical injury, chemical injury, or a radiation injury, can occur due to three of the following mechanisms. One, when a vessel is broken, this is an emergency. And in emergency, what part of the nervous system becomes activated? in any emergency.
Sympathetic.
Sympathetic
Sympathetic.
nervous system. So the first of the thing with the sympathetic nervous system will try to do, along with some local cytokines and chemicals, it'll try to cause within friction of seconds. मैं seconds की बात नहीं कर रहा. Friction of seconds, vascular constriction at the site of the vessel injury. It don't require anything from the platelets or the clotting factors. The first of the stimulus will be the sympathetic nervous system, and then platelet will come in action and some other things which will contribute to the first mechanism, which is called as localized vasoconstriction. Do you think so? Localized vasoconstriction can continue for hours to stop the bleeding?
No, sir.
So therefore, localized vasoconstriction, which is also called as local vasospasm at the site of injury, is sufficient to stop the bleeding only for few seconds, especially in small size blood vessels, whether they are capillaries, they are venules or arterioles. But after few seconds, this vascular constriction will not remain constriction. The blood vessel will acquire its original condition. So therefore, the second thing which should start along with vascular constriction, performing its function, may take some minutes, is the formation of platelet plaque. And I hope everybody has heard about platelet plaque. So in sequence, the second mechanism to stop the bleeding after few minutes, about 4 to 6 minutes, is the formation, complete formation of platelet plaque. Platelet plaque again can stop the bleeding for minutes in moderate size injuries, in medium size blood vessels. However, if the injury is severe and the bleeding prolongs because of severity of injury, or there are multiple holes in the endothelium, there is not single hole, the endothelium suppose has been broken up at many places, then the third mechanism has to come in action in sequence, and it starts initially with platelets but takes time more than the platelet plaque to complete, and this is called as clotting or coagulation. And we'll be talking about the two clotting pathways, which are intrinsic and extrinsic. So therefore, during normal hemostasis, which is the process of cessation or prevention of blood loss from an injured blood vessels, the following three mechanisms will try to restore the integrity of the endothelium and to stop bleeding. And these are: 1, vascular spasm within fraction of seconds; 2, platelet plaque formation, which takes some minutes to occur and complete; and 3, the formation of a blood clot at the end of the coagulation process, which takes some more minutes other than the platelet plaque. Are you with me? Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A normal vascular endothelium which is intact, which has not been broken, has characteristic that it is smooth. And if it is smooth and if it is not rough, the blood flow will be smooth. Nothing in terms of the roughness or broken ends of the vascular endothelium will stop the smooth blood flow. This is the characteristic of a normal, intact, uninjured vascular endothelium. The endothelium, beneath the endothelium, which is subendothelial, there is presence of collagen, which is a connective tissue. Collagen is rough in its properties. But if the endothelium is not injured, would the collagen be exposed to the flowing blood in the lumen?
No.
So therefore, intact endothelium, which itself is smooth, and unexposed collagen will still continue the normal smooth blood flow and no physical interaction between the platelets or the clotting factors in the lumen of the blood vessel to the vascular endothelium or the unexposed collagen. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And the third factor is that in an uninjured endothelium where there is no exposure of subendothelial tissue, endothelium also secretes. Intact endothelium also has stored tissue factor. Tissue is related to endothelium, and this tissue factor is also there in the cell membrane of the platelet. If we are referring to the vessel, it is called as tissue thromboplastin or vascular tissue factor. If we are referring to the platelet cell membrane, we refer it to the platelet tissue factor. The nature is same one. This is called as thromboplastin. This is stored in an intact endothelium. This is also stored in the cell membrane of the platelets. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If it is still stored in the cell membrane of the platelets or the uninjured endothelium, this will be not released in the circulation. And if this is not released in the circulation, it will not activate any of the clotting factor, including clotting factor 7, which I'll be talking about. So to summarize the second slide, there are 3 things which are important to remember in an uninjured condition. 1, vascular endothelium is still smooth. Platelet cannot adhere to a smooth vascular endothelium, which is uninjured. 2, the subendothelial collagen, which is rough, has not been exposed because the endothelium is still intact. तो जो चीज नीचे है वो जब तक ऊपर वाली चीज टूटेगी नहीं तो expose कैसे होगा? So therefore, again, platelets and clotting factors are not exposed to the rough collagen, which is subendothelial still when the vessel is intact. Third, the platelets and the endothelium have not released their tissue thromboplastin. And this tissue thromboplastin, because it has not been released, will not come in contact with clotting factors, including clotting factor 7, and therefore will not cause any activation of clotting factor 7. Are you with me before I move on? Because I'll be referring to these properties of the vascular endothelium and subendothelial collagen again in my lecture as we move on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If still there is anything unclear, I can clear you at this moment in time. I'll not repeat what I have done in terms of conditions when the vessel is still intact. Endothelium has not been broken. ठीक है बेटे? Should I move
Yes,
on?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a intact endothelium. And you can see the collagen, which is subendothelial. The upper one is the intact endothelium. Beneath the endothelium is subendothelial collagen. And this is the condition when endothelium is still intact. Endothelium, when it is intact, releases 2 chemicals. 1, nitric oxide. 2, prostaglandin I2, which is also called as prostacyclin. These 2 chemicals released from an intact endothelium normally prevents platelet adhesion to the vascular endothelium. So what will happen to the prostacyclin and nitric oxide if the endothelium is injured? Would these be released or not?
Released.
The property only of the intact endothelium is that it releases 2 chemicals. One is nitric oxide and second one is prostaglandin I2, also known as prostacyclin. And the property of these chemicals is, in an intact endothelial condition, they prevent platelet adhesion. So would these chemicals will be released if the endothelium is injured? Yes or no?
No.
No, sir.
If they are not released, what will happen? This condition will promote, not release of these chemicals, will promote the platelet adhesion to
Endothelium.
The site of injury.
the injured vascular endothelium. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This also will result in another process, which is aggregation of platelets with each other. So therefore, two effects will occur after the vascular endothelium is injured. One, there will be no release of prostacyclin and nitric oxide from the injured vascular endothelium, and that will promote, stimulate adhesion of platelet to the injured vascular endothelium and aggregation of platelets with each other. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So, the third thing which occurs when still endothelium is intact and platelets are not active. I again repeat, when endothelium is still intact and platelets are not activated, they inhibit the activation of a clotting factor, which is called as von Willebrand factor. The short form is VWF. What does the von Willebrand factor, after it will become activated, will do? It will cause platelet adhesion and activation of clotting factor 8. So if, and by the way, if this is doing after, what if von Willebrand factor is doing this thing only after becoming activated, what will be the sources of von Willebrand factor? Common sense. अगर ये
Endothelium.
प्लेटलेट के एक्टिवेशन के बाद हो रहा है और एंडोथेलियम के ब्रेकअप के बाद हो रहा है, तो इसकी दो सोर्सेज आने की क्या होंगी? कहां पे होगा ये? कॉमन सेंस. मेरे जुमले में ही आंसर है.
Endothelium and platelets.
Therefore, the sources are vascular endothelium and the platelet itself. So, till the platelets are still intact, till the vascular endothelium is still intact, there is no activation of von Willebrand factor. If there is no activation of von Willebrand factor, there will be no platelet adhesion and there will be no activation of clotting factor 8. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, in general, whenever I'll be referring to the von Willebrand factor in my lecture to continue, once the von Willebrand factor becomes activated, then only platelet adhesion and activation of clotting factor 8 will be possible. Then comes another thing in the intact vascular endothelium. Intact vascular endothelium releases another chemical which is known as thrombomodulin. क्या नाम है?
Thrombomodulin.
And this is released from an intact endothelium, not from an injured endothelium. What it does do is it increases the synthesis of a protein which is anti-clotting protein, and this is known as protein C. What does the protein C do? If the protein C is activated, it will proteolytically inactivate clotting factors 5A and 8A. जब भी किसी clotting factor के नाम के साथ छोटा a हो, वो उसकी active form. So if protein C is there, there will be inactivation of clotting factors 5 and 8. And therefore, for clotting to occur, protein C should become stimulated or inhibited.
Inhibited.
And therefore, this inhibition is only possible once the vascular endothelium become injured, because this will not be released by a injured vascular endothelium. This is released only by uninjured intact blood endothelium. तो बेटे जब तक intact है तो thrombomodulin release नहीं हुआ. If the thrombomodulin is not released, it will cause stimulation of protein C, and protein C will cause inactivation of clotting factors 5 and 8. So therefore, activation of clotting factors 5 and 8 is only possible if protein C itself become inhibited, which will be when the vascular endothelium becomes
Injured.
Thank you. Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
ये जितनी बातें मैंने अब तक बताई हैं, ये मैं बार बार रिपीट कर रहा हूं, क्योंकि जो लेक्चर में कंटिन्यू करूंगा उसमें सब का तस्करा आएगा, and I'll not be repeating them again. So if there is any confusion, you can stop me by now. For all of the things which I have discussed till now,
सर ये थ्रोम्बोमोड्यूलिन और प्रोटीन सी का दोबारा एक दफा बताइएगा.
बेटे thrombomodulin is a chemical which is released from intact vascular endothelium only, not from an injured endothelium. So what will the thrombomodulin in an uninjured endothelium do? It will promote the synthesis and release of protein C. And if protein C is stimulated, what will be the result? There will be inactivation of clotting factors 5 and 8. So therefore, protein C is a natural anticoagulant. And therefore, in normal conditions, I hope by now you know that there should be a balance between procoagulants and anticoagulants in a normal condition. So normal condition में activated clotting factors ज़्यादा होंगे या protein C ज़्यादा होगा?
Protein C
Protein C
ज़्यादा
ज़्यादा.
Thank you. Next one. So I'll be talking now about some functional anatomy and properties of platelets. As I said yesterday, their normal count is between 1.5 to 4 lakh cells per microliter of blood. Their half-life is short, between 8 to 12 days, as compared to a erythrocyte, whose half-life is
120 days.
120 days.
In fact, platelets, as I said, are not true cells. They are derived from the thrombocytes. Platelets, as RBCs are, lack nucleus. You can see the pointers where they are pointing towards platelets. Can you compare the size of the RBC to a platelet? So these are RBCs and this is platelet. Can you compare that the size of platelet is only 1 to 2 micrometer as compared to the RBCs, which have got the size of about 7 to 8 microns? Can you appreciate the size?
Yes.
If you see a platelet under a electron microscope, this is how it looks like. Can you see any nucleus in its inside the cytoplasm? Yes or no?
No, sir.
The outermost layer of the platelet is glycocalyx, and the function of the glycocalyx is same as of any other cell. The only difference is that the glycocalyx layer of the platelet contained specialized glycoprotein surface receptors. I again repeat, the glycocalyx layer, which is the outermost layer of the platelet, contain specialized platelet glycoprotein receptors. These glycoprotein receptors are named from 1 to 12. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is important because I'll be referring it. So the outermost layer of the platelet contain specialized platelet glycoprotein receptor. और receptor है तो उसमें कोई चीज bind होगी, which are named from 1 to 12. I'll be referring them again. लेकिन ये कहां पे है? प्लेटलेट के अंदर है या
Outermost layer of the platelet.
These are called as platelet glycoprotein GP, glycoprotein GP receptors. Platelet glycoprotein receptors. नाम याद रखिएगा. Then if you move in, the platelet have got lysosomes. They have got mitochondria. Why? Why would the platelet need mitochondria?
Or the generation of ATP.
Energy.
And why would they need the ATP from mitochondria?
Energy.
To release the
Beta platelet are very, very mobile. They are highly active. They can reach the broken up part of the vascular endothelium within seconds. For this great motility from one end of the vessel to the end where the vessel has been injured, they need very quick motility. For that movement of the platelets, energy is needed, and therefore platelets are rich with
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria.
Now, the platelet in their cell membrane also stores. Word क्या use कर रहा हूं? Stores. It is called as platelet phospholipids. और जब तक वो स्टोर हुआ हुआ है वो रिलीज नहीं हो रहा. And this is the property of an inactive platelet. The platelet in its cell membrane has got platelet phospholipids in the storage form. This is called as platelet phospholipid. And in an inactive platelet, this is still not released out. ये कब released out होगा? जब platelet will become
Active.
active. And active जब भी होंगे जब vascular endothelial injury होगी. So जो platelets circulation में घूम रहे हैं freely, which are not adherent to the vascular endothelium, will not release their platelet phospholipids from their cell membrane. Are you with me?
Sir,
Yes,
again.
sir.
Sir, again. Can you explain?
जी बेटे.
Sir, दोबारा explain कर दें.
Platelet cell membrane has got specialized platelet phospholipids in storage form. This is the property of an inactive platelet which is still circulating but is not adherent to the injured vascular endothelium. Once the platelet will become activated and adhere to the vascular endothelium, platelet will release their
Platelet phospholipids.
हाँ ये याद रखिएगा क्योंकि I'll be referring this property when I go to the hemostasis mechanism. Next one is beneath the cell membrane, just beneath the cell membrane, submembranous, are present 3 contractile proteins of platelets. और contractile होंगे proteins, तो इसका ये proteins जो हैं प्लेटलेट को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे जब भी प्लेटलेट के ग्रेन्यूल्स रप्चर होंगे. सो देयरफॉर द प्रोटीन्स व्हिच आर प्रेजेंट सबमेम्ब्रेनस, सेल मेम्ब्रेन के नीचे, एंड दे आर स्पेसिफिक फॉर प्लेटलेट्स ओनली ड्यूरिंग देयर कॉन्ट्रैक्शन व्हिच इज रिक्वायर्ड टू रप्चर द ग्रेन्यूल्स जिनकी मैं अभी बात करता हूं. एंड द प्लेटलेट सबमेम्ब्रेनस contractile filaments or proteins are 1. Actin, 2. Myosin, and 3, which is specific to platelet, thrombostanin. Thrombostanin, THENIN, thrombostanin. 3 contractile proteins, filaments which are submembranous inside the cell, inside the platelet. And I'll be referring to them, and they are actin, myosin, and thrombostanin. समझ में आया अब तक बेटा? आगे चलूं?
Yes, sir.
Sir, please
Then
figures
comes-
बता दें ये कहाँ होंगे?
बेटे So if this is the cell membrane, just beneath the submembrane, which is called as submembranous portion, cell membrane के बिल्कुल नीचे, जैसे वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम में हमने सब एंडोथेलियल कोलेजन की बात की थी ना, इसी तरह प्लेटलेट के मेम्ब्रेन के बिल्कुल नीचे, साइटोप्लाज्म का पार्ट है लेकिन मेम्ब्रेन के बिल्कुल नीचे, सब मेम्ब्रेनस। समझ गए पोजीशन बेटे?
Okay, sir.
Now I comes to two types of granules, and these are the most important thing in platelets. And these are: one, alpha granules, which are shown in this diagram, and they contain the following: fibrinogen, which is a clotting factor; factor 5, which is again a clotting factor. These two clotting factors, however, which is fibrinogen and factor 5, can also come, other than platelet, from an organ which is, शुरू में बात की थी बेटा, most of the clotting factors are
liver.
yes,
Liver.
yes. Then the third thing which is stored in the alpha granule is von Willebrand factor, जिसका मैं नाम बता चुका आपको. So I want you to remember the first 3 or 4 names before I proceed. Next one are called as dense granules. Why dense granules? They look like thick, dense in an electron microscope. And they store 3 chemicals. 1, ADP, 2, calcium, 3, serotonin. However, again, calcium, serotonin, and ADP can localized be synthesized by the tissue surrounding our endothelium. The sources of calcium, serotonin, and ADP other than platelet can be the tissues nearby the vascular endothelium itself. Is this clear? So I can again repeat that there are 2 types of granules in platelets. 1, alpha, and I want following chemicals to be remembered in terms of alpha granules of platelet. These are fibrinogen, clotting factor 5, and von Willebrand factor. Then the second type of granules shown in this diagram, which the platelet contain, which are called as dense granules, they store 3 chemicals: ADP, calcium, and serotonin. So therefore, you should remember the names of ADP, calcium, serotonin, fibrinogen, factor 5, and von Willebrand factor once I'll be proceeding in my lecture in terms of their storage in either alpha or the dense granules. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, I want you to remember the following things before I move on. 1, the platelet outermost membrane contain specialized glycoprotein receptors. 2, the cell membrane has got stored platelet phospholipids. 3, the submembranous region of the platelet contain 3 contractile protein filaments, which are actin, myosin, and thrombostatin. 4, the alpha granules of the platelet contain fibrinogen, factor 5, and von Willebrand factor. The last one, the dense granules of the platelet contain ADP, calcium, and serotonin. If anything is still unclear, please, you can ask the question, because I'll be referring to all of these in my lecture to come.
No, sir, it's clear.
Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, The type of surface glycoproteins which I want you to remember are not all from 1 to 12. I want you to remember the names of following glycoprotein receptors only, which are 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 5 and 9. These are the subtypes of the surface glycoprotein receptors present in the outermost membrane of the platelets, which I want you to remember from here onwards. Is it clear? I again repeat: 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 5 and 9. Have you noted their names?
Yes, sir.
Alpha granules, 3 चीजों के नाम तो मैंने आपको बता दिए थे. Also contains the following: platelet activating factor. What does the name suggest? What will this chemical do once it is released from the alpha granules? Will make the platelet to become
Activate.
Endothelium.
Activated.
Then another chemical which I haven't named till now, which is stored in the alpha granules, and we'll see its role. It has got more than one role, and this is known as thromboxane A2. Platelet alpha granules also stores clotting factor 1 and 5. And finally, alpha granules also store a factor which helps in tissue repair after the clotting has been done and the hole has to be replaced by a scar tissue. And this is known as platelet derived growth factor. The name suggests that, and this is clotting factor number 13. Iska number kya hai clotting factors mein? 13. What does the name suggest? What will it do?
It
The
will
platelet-
repair,
It will cause growth of
repair
muscular
tissues.
smooth muscle and will be important issue during tissue repair. जब clotting हो जाती है तो उसके बाद उसमें scar बनना है चंद दिनों बाद. And the scar consists of connective tissue, including fibroblast and collagen. That tissue repair will be done only if this factor is present, which is known as
Drive growth factor.
and the number among the clotting factors of this one will be
13.
13.
I have already named the 3 chemicals really which will be stored in the dense granules, which are serotonin, ADP and calcium. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, talking about the clotting factors, and these are, अच्छा इनमें से जिनके नाम मैंने रेड में लिखे सिर्फ वो नाम याद रखने, बाकी सिर्फ नंबर याद रखने. Clotting factor 1 is fibrinogen. If it is fibrinogen, is it active in this form or inactive?
Inactive.
Inactive.
Clotting factor 2, which is called as prothrombin. If it is pro, is this an active form or an inactive form?
Inactive.
form.
And I have talked about clotting factor 3, which is thromboplastin, also called as tissue factor, in the intact endothelium, as well as it will be synthesized by liver and will be present at the endothelial site. Clotting factor number 4, which is calcium. Clotting factor number 5, 6 and 7. Clotting factor number 8, whose absence causes the very famous disease, which is called as,
Hemophilia.
and next one, clotting factor number 9, which is called as Christmas factor. Christmas nahi hai, Christmas, MAS. And its absence will cause the disease which is called as
Christmas disease.
Next one is factor number 10. Factor number 10, once will become activated, will be part of what is called as prothrombin activator, and I'll be referring to this term again. Factor number 11, 12, and 13. Prekallikrein, high molecular weight kinogen. These are the clotting factors. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Liver synthesizes the following clotting factors and also store them. Clotting factor number 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13. If these clotting factors are synthesized and stored in the liver, what will happen during acute or chronic liver diseases? There will be increased tendency of
Bleeding.
and therefore one of the characteristic feature of chronic renal failure is that there will be difficulty in stoppage of bleeding by coagulation, because these factors will not be adequately synthesized or stored in the liver. Then what is the role of vitamin K? Vitamin K is a dash type of vitamin, fat soluble or water soluble?
Fat soluble.
Fat soluble.
It is synthesized normally by the normal intestinal bacterial flora. However, it may also come from the diet. Why is vitamin K needed for clotting? Why? Because vitamin K serves as a cofactor for post-translational modifications. Have you heard the term translation?
Yes, sir.
Proteins are synthesized by the process of transcription and translation. Once the translation has been done, many proteins which are synthesized are still inactive. They need some post-synthesis or post-translational modification. What is the post-translational modification required for clotting factor 2, 7, 9, and 10? One of its amino acid, kiska amino acid in clotting factors mein maujud, they all are proteins, is glutamic acid. Glutamic acid has to combine with a carboxyl group, and the carboxyl group addition to the glutamic acid residues of clotting factor 2, 7, 9, and 10 is the post-translational modification required for these factors to become activated. And this can happen only in the presence of vitamin
K.
Vitamin K.
तो अगर आपसे समराइज फॉर्म में पूछे कि विटामिन ए के करता क्या है जी, विटामिन के कॉजेज एक्टिवेशन ऑफ 2, 7, 9 एंड 10, इसकी प्रेजेंस के बगैर ये एक्टिवेटेड किसी भी तरह नहीं हो सकते. मैंने क्या लफ्ज पे इंपॉर्टेंस दी? किसी भी तरह. तो अगर किसी भी तरह पे मैं इंपॉर्टेंस दूंगा तो इन फैक्टर्स को मैं क्या कहूंगा? डैश डिपेंडेंट clotting factors.
Vitamin
Can
K
you fill up
dependent.
dash?
Vitamin K dependent.
And what does the vitamin K is doing to make them activated? It is adding up a carboxyl group to the glutamic acid residues in the structure of these clotting factors, which is a type of post-translational modification. So by now, I hope you know, and we have revisited what is the role of vitamin K in clotting. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I want also you to remember 3 anti-clotting factors which are naturally synthesized, which are protein C, protein S, and antithrombin. And we have already talked about protein C, isn't it? हमने अभी किया था ना तिस्क्रा थ्रोम्बोमोडुलिन के हवाले से. तो ये क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स बॉडी खुद बनाएगी एंडोजीनियसली. तो अगर ये एंडोजिनसली बॉडी बना रही है तो इनका नॉर्मल कंडीशन में क्या फायदा होगा? क्या ये नॉर्मल कंडीशन में ब्लड को क्लॉट होने देंगे एक अनइंजर्ड ब्लड वेसल, अनइंजर्ड एंडोथेलियम में और अनइंजर्ड ब्लड वेसल में?
नहीं रोकेंगे उसको।
No. नहीं.
और अगर मैं इनकी तादाद कम कर दूं तो प्लेटलेट्स एक दूसरे से एग्रीगेट ज्यादा होंगे, एडहेयर ज्यादा होंगे, ब्लड थिक ज्यादा होगा, तो क्या प्रोकोगुलेशन बढ़ जाएगी या एंटी कोगुलेशन बढ़
बिल्कुल।
जाएगी?
जी सर बिल्कुल।
Procoagulation.
These are very important. Are you with me?
प्लीज कैन यू गो टू द प्रीवियस स्लाइड जो पिछली से पिछली वाली थी, यानी नहीं सर, इससे पीछे वाली।
बेटे मैंने कहा था मैं रिपीट नहीं करूंगा।
अच्छा।
मैंने उसी वक्त कहा था आज जो चीज पूछनी है अभी पूछ लो, मैं आगे प्रोसीड करूंगा, क्योंकि अगर मैंने रिपीट किया तो मुझे जो
नहीं,
आगे बताना है वो मैं टाइम पे नहीं खत्म कर सकता।
सर आप रिपीट नहीं, सिर्फ मैंने उसको देखना है सिर्फ।
रिपीट का तो मतलब यही है कि मैं पीछे जा रहा हूँ।
नहीं
और
सर,
रिपीट
सिर्फ
का क्या
एक
मतलब होता है?
सिर्फ 1 सेकंड के लिए कीजिएगा सर।
ये कीजिए, खत्म हो गया।
थैंक यू सर।
And I have many a time said that stop me at the place. I am repeating many things, but once I proceed, I'll be only referring. पीछे स्लाइड पे वापस नहीं आऊंगा, इसीलिए बार बार रिपीट कर रहा हूं उस स्लाइड की चीजों को, पढ़ नहीं रहा, कंसेप्ट्स को क्लियर करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, because I'll be referring to all these concepts in next 45 minutes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what I have done till now, I have talked about what are the characteristics of normal intact endothelium. What are the things which are in the normal intact endothelium? I have talked about the role of prostacyclins and nitric oxide. I have talked about the structure of platelet in terms of its cell membrane, glycoproteins, contractile proteins, and alpha and dense granules. I have also mentioned the names of the clotting factors, which I'll be referring at the end of my lecture. This is in summary what I have done till now. Are you with me before I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll have 2 minutes break before I proceed, because इसके बाद अब जो flow चलेगा उसमें break नहीं आएगा. So please, you can read, look at the points which you might have noted. Okay, and next 2 minutes, I'll start the story from what happened after the injury to the vascular endothelium.
Okay, sir.
So in fact, I have covered my first learning objective, which was structure, properties, functions of normal vascular endothelium, platelets, and clotting factors. Now what I'll be doing is, I'll be doing these 2 topics, which is normal hemostatic mechanism after a vascular endothelial injury and coagulation cascade. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So what happened to the sequence of events, physiological events, after a vascular endothelium or a vascular smooth muscle is injured? One, there is a reflex stimulation of local pain receptors. Two, there is a reflex stimulation of local vascular alpha-1 sympathetic receptors. And as I said, this is an emergency. The alpha-1 sympathetic receptors, as soon as they become stimulated, they reflexly secrete adrenaline. So reflex stimulation of local pain receptors and vascular alpha-1 receptor sympathetic, they releases adrenaline, will cause local myogenic reflex. Second, the platelets nearby the injured vascular endothelium will become activated, will release their contents, which are serotonin, thromboxane A2, and serotonin from platelets, and adrenaline coming from the sympathetic receptors. These all three will, within fraction of seconds to minutes, will cause local vasoconstriction, which is the first mechanism to stop the bleeding. However, this is a temporary stoppage, and this can only continue from few seconds to few minutes. So if somebody asks you, what is the first thing which occurs as soon as a blood vessel wall is injured, the answer is there is
Vasoconstriction.
stimulation of local pain receptors. There is stimulation of release of adrenalines from the sympathetic nerve endings at the alpha-1 receptor level. These two effects, along with serotonin and thromboxane A2 coming from the platelets, will cause immediately, all of a sudden, within fraction of seconds, localized vasoconstriction, especially in capillaries, small size arterioles and venules, cause vasospasm, which is a local myogenic reflex, and this will stop the bleeding for few seconds to few minutes. Are you with me? This is the first mechanism involved in
Yes.
maintenance of normal hemostasis. Anything which is
Yes,
unclear
sir.
before I move on?
Blue sky, please mute.
Is the first process clear, which is localized vasospasm to cause stoppage of bleeding? This is
Yes, sir.
sequentially the first mechanism.
Yes, sir.
The next one is the platelets will now become motile. The platelets will be exposed to the injured vascular endothelium and the subendothelial rough collagen. As soon as the platelets are moving towards the site of the vascular endothelium and are exposed to the damaged rough vascular endothelium and roughened subendothelial collagen, which is now exposed, the following sequence of events will occur. One, platelet will release platelet activating factor. And as the name suggests, this factor will
Activate the platelet.
Activate the platelet.
And the platelets, after their activation, the first thing which will be done, there will be a change in the platelet shape. The platelets will become swell up. They will throw pseudopodia from their cell membrane, and they will become sticky to the exposed subendothelial collagen and to the injured vascular endothelial tissue. As soon as this occurs, the platelet now have become activated after they swell up, throw pseudopodia towards the injured endothelium or subendothelial collagen and have become sticky to the vascular injured endothelium. Now they have become activated. And the main substance which has done this is
Platelet activation
Please
factor.
interrupt. Blue sky, please mute, otherwise we have to block it.
the second thing which occurs. Platelet glycoprotein receptor 1A. I'll show you in a diagram. Platelet glycoprotein receptor 1A, 1B, 2A, 5 and 9 binds to the von Willebrand factor, which is coming from dash and dash. Which is released
and endothelium.
Alpha granules.
which is released from the activated platelets and from the ruptured endothelium. As soon as platelets bind von Willebrand factor, the von Willebrand factor in turn will attach these platelets, adhere these platelets to the subendothelial collagen. And this is called as platelet adhesion reaction. Adhesion to
Injured endothelium.
Ruptured endothelium.
and subendothelial collagen. This is shown in
So
this
ये
diagram. So what will happen is,
Sorry to interrupt. Last warning, please. Blue sky mute कर दे, मतलब block कर देंगे आपको.
Sir, there is interruption.
बेटे कहां से इंटरप्शन है? मेरी तरफ से तो नहीं है.
नहीं सर, किसी का माइक खुला है, आप कंटिन्यू करें.
So the glycoprotein receptors on the surface of the platelet, glycoprotein receptor 1A, 1B, 2A, 5 and 9. Through these glycoprotein receptors, the platelet will bind to the von Willebrand factor. In turn, the von Willebrand factor will attach these platelets to the exposed subendothelial collagen and the injured endothelium. In this manner, the platelet had become adhered to
Injured endothelium.
and subendothelial collagen. And this is called as platelet adherent reaction. As soon as one platelet adhere, the other platelets start adhering with the same mechanism. And the main thing which has brought this adherence possible is this one, which is known as von Willebrand factor. And the receptors involved for the platelets are glycoprotein receptor 1A, 1B, 2A, 5 and 9. Is it clear?
सर ये वॉन
Yes, sir.
विलेब्रांड फैक्टर वाला स्टेप फिर बताइएगा.
बेटे वॉन विलेब्रांड फैक्टर कहां से रिलीज हुआ ये याद है?
Activation of platelets.
Yes sir, injured endothelium sir.
So injured endothelium and activated platelets. And what will it do? This will be a bridge between platelet glycoprotein receptors and injured vascular endothelium. So what will it do? It will bind at one end the glycoprotein receptors of the platelets, and on the other end the subendothelial collagen and the injured vascular endothelium. And therefore, if it binds the platelet on one end and the injured endothelium and subendothelial collagen on the other end, what will it be doing? It will be making platelet to become dash to the injured endothelium and to the subendothelial collagen.
Adhere to that.
Correct.
And this is the next step. Now, the third one. The first step was platelet have changed their shape, have become activated. Second, they have become adherent. And this is continued by other platelets also. Next, platelet glycoprotein receptor 2B and 3A. Let's say this is platelet number 1. Glycoprotein receptor 2B and 3A on platelet number 1 will attach to the fibrinogen circulating in the circulation. Fibrinogen kahan se aayega? लिवर से. So these glycoprotein receptors attach to the fibrinogen, and fibrinogen attach them to the same glycoprotein receptors on the other platelets. So agar platelet number 1 और प्लेटलेट नंबर 2 ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन रिसेप्टर्स कॉमन है, प्लेटलेट 1 पे भी और 2 पे भी. कौन से? 2B and 3A. 2B 3A इसके और 2B 3A इसके. दरमियान में क्या चीज है? एडेशन मेटाबॉन्ड रिबॉन्ड फैक्टर. यहां दरमियान में क्या स्टोरी है?
Fibrinogen.
एंड फिब्रिनोजन अलोंग विद कैल्शियम. दो नाम याद रख लो. क्या क्या? कैल्शियम एंड फिब्रिनोजन. So calcium and fibrinogen will make one platelet to attach with the second platelet, and this will form what is called as platelet aggregate.
Aggregation.
So through glycoprotein receptor 2B and 3A, our platelet involving in between fibrinogen and calcium attaches with the other nearby platelet, and this goes on and goes on and goes on, and this process will be termed as platelet
Aggregation.
aggregation, which is the next step. So the first step was platelet activation, second is platelet adhesion, and third is platelet aggregation. Aggregation में platelet वेस्कुलर एंडोथीलियम से अटैच नहीं हो रहे, सब एंडोथीलियल कोलेजन से नहीं हो रहे, दूसरे प्लेटलेट से एग्रीगेट हो रहे. सो वंस वन प्लेटलेट बिकम एग्रीगेटेड विद सेकंड एंड सेकंड विद थर्ड, एंड दिस गोज ऑन. इन नेक्स्ट फ्यू मिनट्स thousands of platelets will become aggregated with each other. अगर एक गुच्छा बन जाए, क्या लफ्ज इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूं?
गुच्छा.
गुच्छा बन जाए तो क्या एक प्लेटलेट के मुकाबले में गुच्छे का साइज बड़ा होगा?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of the platelets in this plug have already adhered to the vascular endothelium. So what will happen? The platelet 1, 2, 3, 4 and goes on, which have become adhered, will now become aggregated and will close the vascular hole due to this aggregation. And the process overall now is termed as, after 3 steps, platelet plug formation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the first step to stop bleeding was, which occurred within seconds.
Flex stimulation.
And I want you to remember 3 things. 4 things. ADP, serotonin, thromboxane, A2, and adrenaline secreted at the sympathetic nerve endings nearby the injured vascular endothelium, along with its alpha-1 receptor. 1. 2. I want you to remember 3 steps, which is involved in the formation of platelet plug, which is primary hemostasis. These are platelet activation, platelet adhesion, and finally platelet aggregation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This temporarily seals the vessel wall break, and this can stop bleeding from a relatively medium-sized hole or in medium-sized vessels. This can also stop bleeding from daily unnoticed wear and tear in the skin and GIT, which occurs unnoticed. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I have completed 2 processes involved in the hemostasis. One was vasoconstriction and second was primary hemostasis through platelet plug formation. Is it clear till now? Any query?
सर ये एडीपी का रोल कहाँ पे आता है?
ADP is involved in vasoconstriction as well as platelet activation and aggregation. Presence of ADP promotes, word क्या use किया? promotes the platelet activation, adhesion, as well as aggregation. Have I answered you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As soon as this has completed, platelets now releases whatever calcium remains in the granules out, and also releases platelet phospholipids from their cell membrane. तो कौन सी दो चीजें प्लेटलेट के सेल मेम्ब्रेन और ग्रेन्यूल से बाहर आ जाएंगी? One, phospholipids from their membrane, and calcium, whatever has remained in the granules, will come out of the platelet into circulation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'll take a break and I'll continue with the third last process, which is blood coagulation, which will be called as secondary hemostasis. यहां तक प्रोसेस समझ में आए हैं बेटे? मैं बार बार रिपीट कर रहा हूं, रिलेट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. Is still there any query, any question, any concept which is not cleared?
ऐसे यही जो स्लाइड डिस्प्लेड है, इस पे जो लास्ट पॉइंट है ये बताइएगा, ये रिलीज ऑफ प्लेटलेट्स
Okay,
एंड
once
कैल्शियम फ्रॉम
platelet plug has formed, the primary function of platelet is over. अब next process क्या शुरू होना है प्लग के बाद? फाइनल स्टॉपेज ऑफ ब्लीडिंग के लिए आखिरी प्रोसेस क्या होना है?
Coagulation.
And for that coagulation now, after platelets have performed their function and platelet plug has formed, the platelets from their inside releases calcium out, जो कुछ भी बच गया है granules में, and also releases from its membrane the stored phospholipids. So now the calcium from the platelets and phospholipids from their cell membrane has been released into the circulation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we'll have 2 minutes break before I proceed. और ये मैं ब्रेक जान के दे रहा हूं क्योंकि ये सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स बहुत लंबे हैं. मैं चाह रहा हूं बार बार रिपीट हो, and there remains no concept जो मेजर कंसेप्ट जो कि क्लियर ना हो, समझ में ना आए. I have tried to be very slow and repeating.
Excuse me, sir.
जी
Sir,
बेटे.
there was a MCQ that if a lady comes to you with a knife injury, and what is the first clotting factor that will be released? There were options. So it is factor.
The answer is in my next slide.
Okay, sir.
Any other thing? So till now, there are two mechanisms which have tried to stop the bleeding from a vascular endothelial injury. And these are: one, localized vasospasm; second, blood platelet plug formation. The third mechanism, which will start with the platelet plug, but will continue after the platelet plug is formed to become completed is called as blood coagulation. This occurs through two pathways. The first one is called as extrinsic clotting pathway. This occurs when there is a trauma to the vascular endothelium and or trauma to the tissue surrounding the vascular endothelial wall. So या तो vascular endothelium खुद injured हो जाए या जो उसके नियर बाई टिश्यू है जो सराउंड कर रहा है वो इंजर हो जाए. What it will do? This will cause exposure of clotting factor 3. The name is tissue thromboplastin. कहां से आ रहा है?
सर प्लेटलेट की सेल मेम्ब्रेन से और अनइंजर्ड एंडोथेलियम से.
नहीं बेटे, इंजर्ड हुई हुई एंडोथेलियम से. अनइंजर्ड में तो स्टोर्ड था, अब एक्सपोज हो जाएगा.
लीवर से
नहीं बेटा, क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर 3 प्लेटलेट के अंदर मौजूद था, एक्सपोज नहीं हुआ था. वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम में मौजूद था, प्लेटलेट से एक्सपोज नहीं हुआ था. अब क्या होगा? When there is a trauma to the vascular endothelium, तो जो वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम के अंदर टिश्यू थ्रोम्बोप्लास्टिन था वो किससे एक्सपोज हो जाएगा? प्लेटलेट से. और जो प्लेटलेट के अंदर प्लेटलेट थ्रोम्बोप्लास्टिन था वो किससे एक्सपोज हो जाएगा?
एंडोथेलियम.
इंजर्ड एंडोथेलियम या वो टिश्यू जो वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम के सराउंडिंग था और अगर इंजर्ड हो गया तो उससे. And this will start what is called as extrinsic clotting pathway. So in short, extrinsic clotting pathway, extrinsic का क्या मतलब होता है?
बैरूनी.
तो बैरूनी किस चीज का बैरूनी? ब्लड के ल्यूमन में क्या है? क्या फ्लो हो रहा है?
इंट्रिंसिक.
ना बेटा, ब्लड के ल्यूमन में फ्लो, वेसल के ल्यूमन में फ्लो क्या चीज हो रही है?
ब्लड.
ब्लड को इंजरी नहीं हुई, ब्लड को इंजरी नहीं हुई, ब्लड के बाहर की चीज को. क्या बाहर की चीज? या तो वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम या एंडोथेलियम के सराउंडिंग टिश्यू. ब्लड बजाते खुद को होती तो वो कहलाती इंट्रिंसिक इंजरी. अब ये ब्लड की इंट्रिंसिक इंजरी नहीं है, ये ब्लड के बाहर की किस चीज की? वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम की या सराउंडिंग टिश्यू टू द वेस्कुलर एंडोथेलियम की. You get my point?
Yes, sir. Very well.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, extrinsic clotting pathway starts due to the trauma, not of the blood, but the structures which are outside the blood. In comparison to it, the intrinsic clotting pathway begins by the trauma to the blood itself, or if the blood itself comes in contact with circulating plasma clotting factors, or exogenously the blood may contact the rough glass surface on the slide. So किसी भी हाल में कांटेक्ट में किस चीज का आना है? ब्लड खुद का. So either blood or the circulating plasma factors to the blood, or the blood itself exposed to the damaged endothelial surface, or blood itself is exposed outside the body to a rough glass surface on the slide. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, intrinsic clotting pathway involves the blood itself, while the extrinsic involves
Tissue.
Endothelium.
Tissue and the
the
endothelium.
tissue which is outside the blood, which is either injured vascular endothelium or the surrounding tissue nearby the injured endothelium. Is the difference very clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अब वो जो सवाल पूछा था अब पूछो. What was?
What is the first clotting factor activated
तो बेटा
during
वो, हाँ बोलो, किसके बाद?
नाइफ इंजरी के बाद. नाइफ इंजरी है.
किसकी इंजरी?
नाइफ से इंजरी हुई है फीमेल को।
नाइफ से जब इंजरी होगी तो क्या नाइफ वेस्कुलर एंडोथीलियम को पहले टच करेगा या ब्लड को?
एंडोथेलियम को।
तो अगर वेस्कुलर एंडोथीलियम इंजर्ड हुई और ट्रॉमा, सबसे पहला स्टेप ट्रॉमा हुआ, तो कौन सा पाथवे होगा? स्लाइड देख के बताओ।
Extrinsic.
Extrinsic.
Got the answer?
Factor 7.
Got the answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, this is a classical diagram which is given in all textbooks of physiology, including Guyton. Are you with me? How will intrinsic pathway stimulate and how will extrinsic pathway stimulate?
Yes, sir.
बस का एक्सट्रिंसिक पाथवे से।
Extrinsic pathway has become stimulated once the trauma was done to the vascular endothelium or to the tissue surrounding the vascular endothelium. While intrinsic, when the trauma or exposure has occurred directly to the blood itself. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. सर ये तो पाथवे, लेकिन कौन सा वो निकल होगा? सब्सटेंस कौन सा?
जी बेटे।
सर वो पूछ रहे हैं सवाल के अंदर कि कौन सा मीन्स रिलीज होगा फैक्टर।
बेटा तो अभी मैं, हाँ तो पहले ये डिसाइड कर लो पाथवे कौन सा होगा।
सर पाथवे
Extrinsic pathway.
अब अगली जरा स्लाइड का इंतजार करो।
चलें ठीक है सर, ओके, थैंक यू।
पहले ये तो डिसाइड कर लो पाथवे कौन सा है, फिर देखेंगे कि उस पाथवे में सबसे पहले स्टेप कौन सा है।
ठीक है सर, डिसाइड हो गया, ओके, थैंक यू।
Okay, so what will the intrinsic pathway do? Intrinsic pathway, the first factor which is stimulated, activated is factor 12. And I am starting with what pathway? Intrinsic. Intrinsic में blood को खुद को trauma होगा, expose होगा वो. Clotting factor 12 converts into active clotting factor 12. Active के आगे small a लिखा होगा. In the presence of prekallikrein और high molecular weight kynogen, इनके नाम मैंने उस स्लाइड में लिए थे जहां मैंने क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स का नाम लिए थे। Prekallikrein and high molecular weight kynogen. These prekallikrein and high molecular weight kynogen are itself released from an organ which most probably is
liver.
Yes.
Liver.
So liver releases them in circulation. Through the circulation, it comes at the site of the vascular injury, will convert factor 12 into factor 12A. Factor 12A in turn converts factor 11 into factor 11A. And again, high molecular weight kynogen is required. Factor 11A in the presence of calcium will convert factor 9 into factor 9A. Factor 9A will convert factor 10 into factor 10A. This completes the intrinsic pathway. I again repeat, intrinsic pathway has started due to trauma to the blood itself or the exposure of the blood to the clotting factors or to the rough glass surface. The intrinsic pathway starts when liver releases prekallikrein and high molecular weight kynogen, which comes in the circulation towards the site of vascular injury, converts factor 12 into 12A. 12A is required in the presence of again high molecular weight kynogen to convert factor 11 into 11A. Factor 11A is required in the presence of calcium to convert factor 9 into 9A. The 9A finally at the end of intrinsic pathway is required to convert factor 10 into factor 10A. So what factors are required in the intrinsic pathway? Can somebody just name them?
Sir, 12, 11, 9, 10.
All in their active forms, along with precalciferin, high molecular weight kynogen, and calcium. So therefore, if somebody asks you what is the first clotting factor in terms of intrinsic pathway which becomes activated and then only intrinsic pathway continues, the answer is
12.
Factor 12.
thank you.
Factor 12.
And keep in mind that the last step in the intrinsic pathway is conversion of factor 10 into 10A, which is the active form of 10. Are you with me till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Extrinsic pathway, which has become stimulated due to the vascular endothelial injury, or to the, if you remember this slide, or to the injury to the surrounding tissue nearby the vascular wall. What had happened? It will release clotting factor 3 either from the platelet or vascular endothelium. And the name of the clotting factor 3 is thromboplastin. What it will do is it will stimulate the conversion of factor 7 into 7A. Once factor 7A is formed, along with platelet or tissue thromboplastin, which is factor number
3.
Factor 3.
So factor 7A combines with platelet or tissue thromboplastin, forms a complex which is called as factor 7A tissue thromboplastin factor complex. Converts in the extrinsic pathway in the presence of calcium and platelet phospholipids factor 10 into 10A. That completes the extrinsic pathway. I again repeat, how is the extrinsic pathway stimulated, beta?
Factor
Trauma
7.
to the vascular endothelium or trauma to the tissue surrounding the vascular endothelium. This has released either from the platelet or the vascular endothelium factor number 3, which is called as
Tissue thromboplastin.
tissue thromboplastin. The factor 7 is converted at the start of the extrinsic pathway into factor 7A. Factor 7A combines with tissue factor, which is tissue thromboplastin, to form a complex which is called as factor 7A tissue factor complex. This complex, in the presence of calcium or the platelet phospholipids which were released, remember my last slide, last point, from the platelets,
Yes, sir.
the factor 7A tissue factor complex, in the presence of calcium and phospholipids released from the platelets, converts factor 10 into 10A. So कौन से factors extrinsic pathway में involve हैं?
3, 7, 10.
7 tissue factor, calcium, and phospholipids. And what is the common end point of both extrinsic pathway and intrinsic pathway? Formation of
10. 10. 10A.
not 10, 10A.
10A.
From here starts what is called as common clotting pathway. अब तक किन दो pathways की बात की बेटे?
Extrinsic.
From 10A, anything which I'll be describing and revisiting is called as common clotting pathway. Common क्यों? कि ये intrinsic और extrinsic के बाद common चलेगा आगे. ठीक है? Should I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now in the common pathway, factor 8 is converted into factor 8A. In the common pathway, factor 8 is converted into factor 8A. Now, factor 8 and 10 are present in their active forms. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Factor 8A and 10A, in the presence of calcium and phospholipids released from the platelets, converts prothrombin, which was active or inactive?
Active.
Prothrombin was inactive, beta. Pro tha, pro form hai.
Yes, sir.
Precursor form. So factor 8A, 10A at the start of common pathway, in the presence of calcium and phospholipids, converts prothrombin into thrombin. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For this conversion, one additional thing is required, which is factor 5A. So if somebody asks you, what are the 3 activated factors which are required for conversion of prothrombin into thrombin in the common pathway, your answer should be
Calcium and phosphorus.
8, 10A और 5.
एक-एक करके बताओ, एक-एक करके बताओ. बोलो,
10,
शाबाश.
8A,
हाँ.
फिर 10A और फिर 5A.
And they all required the presence of dash and dash from platelets.
Calcium and phospholipids.
Calcium and phosphorus.
And these all are now required finally to convert dash into dash.
Prothrombin
Prothrombin into thrombin.
Into thrombin.
Thrombin is an enzyme which is required to convert fibrinogen, which was inactive, to a fibrin monomer. Monomer एक होता है. So once thrombin is formed, it serves as an enzyme to convert fibrinogen into, in its active form, एक thread, which is monomer, fibrin monomer. So therefore, in the common pathway, 10A, 8A, 5A, calcium and phospholipid together have converted prothrombin into thrombin. And now thrombin will convert inactive fibrinogen into fibrin monomer. Fibrin monomer bana, so there will be one fibrin thread. Similarly, many more fibrin threads or fibrin monomers are formed. Once all threads are there, they will entangle each other to form what is called as fibrin polymer, or a network of fibrin threads.
Fibrin mesh.
Bete, thrombin has converted fibrinogen into fibrin monomer, which is one thread. अब ये एक साइकिल हो गई. इसी तरह से जो और क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स आ रहे हैं, वो एक और साइकिल करेंगे, और साइकिल करेंगे, और साइकिल करेंगे. So there will be formation of many fibrin
threads,
monomers or
Polymers.
threads.
Polymers.
नहीं, पहले तो फिब्रिन मोनोमर्स बनेंगे ना, बहुत सारे. पहले एक बना था मोनोमर, फिर बहुत सारे मोनोमर बनेंगे. Once many fibrin monomers are formed, they arrange on each other like a network. मछली का जाल देखा है?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
एक मोनोमर दूसरे के ऊपर, दूसरा तीसरे के ऊपर, and they all formed like a network. जैसे मछली का जाल होता है, which is now called as fibrin
Polymer.
Polymer.
This fibrin polymer is not stabilized. For it to become stabilized is required factor 13A.
Yeah.
So unstabilized fibrin polymer will be converted into stabilized fibrin polymer in the presence of the last one, which is factor 13A. और ये 13 को 13A में कौन convert करे? already formed
Thrombin.
thrombin. Are you with
Thrombin.
me?
Yes,
So
Yes,
sir.
therefore,
sir.
I again repeat, in intrinsic pathway, factor 12, factor 11, factor 9, procalciferin, high molecular weight kinogen were involved so as to form factor 10A. In the extrinsic pathway, factor 7A, the tissue or platelet thromboplastin, which is called as tissue factor, they were involved. They converted in the presence of calcium and phospholipids 10 to 10A. From 10A starts the story of common pathway. 10A along with 8A and 5A. In the common pathway, in the presence of calcium and platelet phospholipid, will convert prothrombin into
Thrombin.
this thrombin is now an enzyme will convert fibrinogen into a fibrin monomer.
Fibrin
A
monomer.
होता है. Many fibrin monomers form simultaneously.
Polymer.
All of them
Fibrin
arrange
polymer.
on each other in the form of a network. Still the network is unstabilized. To cause this fibrin polymer to become stabilized,
Factor
there
8.
is needed
Or 13.
factor 13A, which itself is converted from 13 into 13A in the presence of thrombin. So
Thrombin.
finally, a network of fibrin polymers which are cross-linked and now stabilized have formed. And this is called as blood clot or blood coagulum. This stops the bleeding now permanently, and this is called as secondary hemostasis.
Okay, sir.
So am I clear with the intrinsic pathway, extrinsic pathway, common pathway, formation of a monomer, formation of an unstabilized polymer, and formation of a stabilized polymer in terms of secondary hemostasis?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Very clear,
This
Mashallah.
takes more time than the platelet plug to complete. So therefore, initially within few seconds, the body tried to stop the bleeding by
Vasoconstriction.
Vasoconstriction.
Localized
remember adrenaline, serotonin, etc. in that role. The second thing which occurred after few seconds to few minutes to stop the bleeding was the formation of platelet plug. And the steps involved were platelet activation, platelet adherence, and platelet aggregation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And finally, the platelet released from their surface phospholipids and calcium from their interior, and then started the last one, the last physiological mechanism to stop the bleeding, which was the formation of blood coagulation that occurred either through the intrinsic pathway or the extrinsic pathway. Both of them ended in the common formation of 10A, which further, with the help of 8A and 5A, converted prothrombin into thrombin. Thrombin converted fibrinogen into fibrin monomer. Many monomers collect to form the polymer, which is a fibrin network, but still unstabilized, and it has to become stabilized in the presence of 13A. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's my lecture.
And sir, the answer to that MCQ would be factor 7.
7.
Yes, 7A.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Bete, have you got the concept clear now? Have we repeated, revised something for you in terms of hemostasis? This is a very, very essential concept for you to lifelong. Many of the patients which come to the clinics have got some clotting abnormality, or there are drugs which affects the blood coagulation mechanism at various steps. So for you to remember first what happens in a normal condition and then related to the clinical condition is important now from here onwards, especially when you are trying to do your FCPS. Is it clear?
Sir, alhamdulillah, very much clear. And sir,
I have
hats off.
tried my best. I have repeated many things. I have tried to be in sequence. If it's still anything is not clear at this moment of time, you are welcome. But I have tried my best.
Thank you, sir.
सर एक बात पूछनी थी। हेलो,
बोलो।
हाँ सर, आपने बताया ये फैक्टर 10A जो है ये फिर मतलब एक्टिवेट मतलब फैक्टर 8A के साथ मतलब ये और फिर फर्दर आगे कॉमन पाथवे कैरी आउट होगा ना, तो इसका मतलब है कि भले एक्सट्रिंसिक हो या इंट्रिंसिक हो दोनों के लिए फैक्टर 8 नीडेड है, वरना उसके बगैर कॉमन पाथवे भी आगे नहीं जाएगा।
नहीं, दोनों के लिए फैक्टर 8 नीडेड नहीं है, दोनों के एंड में 10A नीडेड है। दोनों का एंड किस चीज पे हुआ है बेटा?
सर 10A पे हुआ है।
हाँ, तो 8 जो है वो कहाँ दिखा रहा है इस चार्ट में? किस तरफ है? इंट्रिंसिक की तरफ है, एक्सट्रिंसिक की तरफ है?
सर इंट्रिंसिक की तरफ है।
तो बेटा 8 जो है वो इंट्रिंसिक का पार्ट बनेगा। अब जब 8 बन जाएगा तो आखिर में क्या क्या चीजें बन गई? 8A बन गया, 10A बन गया। अब इनको एक और क्या चीज चाहिए? 5A।
जी सर।
ये तीनों अब कॉमन पाथवे का पार्ट बनेंगे। कौन कौन से? 8A जो इंट्रिंसिक के एंड पे बन गया, 10th जो इंट्रिंसिक के एंड पे बन गया, 10th जो एक्सट्रिंसिक के एंड पे बन गया। अब इनको मजीद एक और चाहिए, क्या? 5A। जब ये बन जाएगा तो ये तीनों मिलके अब कहां दाखिल होंगे?
कॉमन पाथवे।
इज इट क्लियर नाउ?
Yes, sir.
थैंक यू।
सर मैं क्लैरिफिकेशन चाहूंगा।
जी बेटा।
सर मैं ये पूछना चाहूंगा कि जो वॉन विलीब्रैन फैक्टर है वो सिर्फ प्लेटलेट्स की एंडोथेलियल वॉल से एडहियन को यकीनी बनाता है, वो उनके बाहमी उनके एडहियन में भी काम उसका रोल है या उसका रोल उसमें नहीं है?
नहीं, उसका रोल एग्रीगेशन में नहीं है, एडहेरेंस में है। एग्रीगेशन में क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि रिसेप्टर्स डिफरेंट है ना बेटा।
यस सर, ओके सर। यानी सर adherence to the endothelial wall and not their mutual adhesion, is that right?
Adherence is meaning of platelet attaching to the wall of the endothelium or subendothelium collagen, and aggregation is attachment of one platelet to the other platelet. उसको adherence नहीं कहते, उसको aggregation कहते हैं सेकंड वाले को।
यस सर, ठीक है सर।
रिसेप्टर्स फर्क है।
जी सर, मैं समझ गया।
एग्रीगेशन में किसका काम है? अगर वॉन विलीब्रैंड का नहीं है तो किस किस का काम है? दो नाम लिए थे मैंने,
Fibrinogen and calcium.
Fibrinogen and calcium.
Thank you. Is it clear?
Yes sir, very clear sir.
Thank you beta.
Thank you sir, thanks a lot sir.
Thank you. And I'll be back on Friday where we'll be starting with cardiovascular system with me.
Yes. Looking forward to see you then sir.
Thank you beta.
Impatiently looking forward.
I have tried to be slow and to explain it in simple words. Thank you.
Thank you sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
All the best. We'll meet tomorrow, inshallah.